No, fuck you. I'm begging you, please don't hurt her.
Last chance to save one. Choose.
Why are you doing this?
From thrilling horror sequels like Scream 7 and 28 Years Later The Bone Temple, to epic blockbusters like Toy Story 5, Dune Messiah, and Godzilla x Kong Supernova, there's a lot coming in the next 2 years. So grab some snacks, because we're going through the biggest releases you'll want to mark on your calendar. Soulmate, January 9th, 2026. The Megan franchise is taking a bold new turn with its upcoming spin-off Soulmate, and producer James Wan is calling it a much more mature, adult-focused story. While Megan and its sequel Megan 2.0 leaned into PG-13 thrills and even some campy humor, Soulmate is shifting gears entirely, embracing the style of steamy 90s erotic thrillers like Fatal Attraction, but with robots. Directed and written by Kate Dolan, Soulmate follows a grieving husband who, desperate to cope with the death of his wife, buys an AI companion to fill the void. Naturally, things don't go as planned, and the love bot becomes something far more dangerous than he bargained for. The cast includes Claudia Dumont, David Rysdahl, Lily Sullivan, and Oliver Cooper. It's set to hit theaters January 9th, 2026. James Wan explained the tonal shift in an interview, saying this movie is like Fatal Attraction but with robots. He made it clear that Soulmate won't try to mimic Megan's signature sass. Instead, it's going darker and sexier while still keeping a sly sense of humor, just more subtle and adult than the franchise's usual PG-13 vibe. This move really highlights how the Megan universe is experimenting with different genres. The first film was basically a killer doll horror. Megan 2.0 leaned more into action and even made the murderous android a weird sort of hero, and now Soulmate is diving into psychological, erotic thriller territory. The big question is whether this R-rated, more niche approach will still appeal to the Megan fanbase, especially since it'll cut some of the younger crowd who love the campy chaos of the earlier films. But if it works, it could open the door to even more genre-bending AI stories in this growing universe. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, January 16, 2026. The 28 Days Later universe is expanding in a big way, and horror fans won't have to wait long for the next chapter. Fresh off the release of 28 Years Later, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland's new trilogy is already rolling out its second installment, The Bone Temple, and it's already been filmed. The Bone Temple picks up after the shocking ending of 28 Years Later, where young Spike abandons his island home and ends up in the company of the eerie cult leader, Sir Jimmy Crystal. Jimmy's unsettling look, styled after disgraced British TV presenter Jimmy Savile, suggests some dark, layered themes about memory, history, and how the past can be rewritten. Garland even hinted the story would explore how misremembering key events can drastically change the world. We still don't know the full plot, but it seems likely the film will dive deeper into Jimmy's history and his escape from the Rage virus outbreak. It may also shed light on Spike's fate after choosing to follow Jimmy and what's really left of the mainland decades after the initial infection. The cast is stacked again, with Williams and O'Connell returning alongside Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who plays Spike's father, Jamie. And yes, Cillian Murphy is back as Jim, the protagonist from the original 28 Days Later, marking his first return to the franchise in over 2 decades. While Danny Boyle directed 28 Years Later, this sequel is helmed by Nia DaCosta, with Garland still writing the script. The 2 films were shot back-to-back during summer 2024, which explains why the gap between releases is so short. Scream 7, February 27, 2026. Scream 7 is officially on the way, and it's shaping up to be one of the wildest entries in the franchise yet. After Scream 6 kept the momentum going in 2023, this sequel has had its shares of behind-the-scenes drama, with major cast shakeups and a total creative reset. Now, the film is confirmed to release next year, with Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original Scream, stepping in to direct. The biggest news? Neve Campbell is back as Sidney Prescott after sitting out Scream 6 due to a pay dispute. Courtney Cox returns as Gale Weathers, and in a shocking twist, David Arquette is reprising Dewey despite his on-screen death. Even more surprising, Matthew Lillard is returning as Stu Macher, one of the original Ghostface killers, fueling the long-running fan theory that he survived the first film. The movie's cast is packed. Isabel May will play Sydney's daughter, and Joel McHale has been cast as Sydney's husband, Mark Evans, ending fan speculation that she married Patrick Dempsey's Detective Mark Kincaid. Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown are back as the surviving core 4 members, Chad and Mindy. New faces include Celeste O'Connor, McKenna Grace, Sam Reckner, Asa German, Anna Camp, Michelle Randolph, Jimmy Tatro, and even Scott Foley, who played ghost-faced killer Roman Bridger in Scream 3. Story details are still unknown, but the focus is shifting away from Sam Carpenter's arc after Melissa Barrera's firing and returning fully to Sydney's narrative. Given the franchise's meta nature, this chapter could explore the idea of long-running horror sagas and legacy characters, while teasing which returning face might be behind the ghost face mask this time. Toy Story 5, June 19, 2026. Toy Story 5 is officially happening. Despite Toy Story 4 feeling like a final goodbye for Woody and Buzz, Pixar is bringing the iconic toys back for another adventure, this time with a new twist that reflects modern childhood. Voice recording is already underway. Tom Hanks confirmed he's back as Woody, while Tim Allen will once again voice Buzz Lightyear. Joan Cusack returns as Jessie, Annie Potts as Bo Peep, Tony Hale as Forky, Wallace Shawn as Rex, John Ratzenberger as Ham, and Blake Clark as Slinky Dog. Following the passing of Carl Weathers in 2024, Ghostbusters star Ernie Hudson has stepped in to voice Combat Carl, suggesting the character might have a bigger role this time. The story will tackle how toys struggle to stay relevant as their owner shifts from traditional playthings to modern tech, tablets, VR, and other gadgets that steal kids' attention. Director Andrew Stanton revealed that this theme will be central to the movie while also promising a faster pace to suit today's audiences. Interestingly, Jessie will reportedly take center stage in this installment, while Woody and Buzz could play more supporting roles, giving the franchise a fresh perspective after 30 years. Pixar Chief Creative Officer Pete Docter teased that Toy Story 5 will be different from its predecessors while still delivering the emotional depth and humor fans expect. Early concept art shown at D23 2024 featured all the familiar characters together, hinting that the core gang will reunite despite Woody's departure at the end of Toy Story 4. Moana, July 10, 2026. Disney's live-action Moana is officially sailing ahead, bringing the beloved 2016 animated hit into a new cinematic form. Dwayne Johnson is returning as Maui, the larger-than-life demigod, but Auli Cravalho won't reprise her role as Moana. Instead, she's stepping into a producer role to ensure the story stays authentic and respectful to Polynesian culture. Catherine Lagaya, a newcomer from Sydney with Samoan heritage, has been cast as Moana. The rest of Moana's family is also coming to life, with John Tui as Chief Tui, Frankie Adams as Sina, and Rena Owen as Grandma Tala, who serves as Moana's spiritual guide. As for the fan-favorite animal sidekicks, Hey Hey the Rooster, voiced by Alan Tudyk, will return in CGI form, and Tamatoa the giant, shiny-loving crab will likely bring back Jermaine Clement's unforgettable performance of Shiny. The story will mostly follow the same journey as the animated classic. Moana sets sail beyond the reef to save her island from a mysterious blight, teaming up with Maui, reclaiming the heart of Te Fiti, and discovering her true destiny. Jared Bush, who wrote the original, is co-writing the screenplay with Dana Ledoux Miller, ensuring the same humor and heart remain intact. One of the biggest challenges will be translating Moana's lush oceanic world, magical creatures, and epic water sequences into live action. But with Disney's experience in creating stunning CGI environments, think Avatar: The Way of Water and Wakanda Forever, they're expected to pull it off beautifully. The film is aiming for an immersive, culturally authentic feel while keeping the same adventurous spirit and music that made the original a hit. Resident Evil, September 18, 2026. The Resident Evil reboot is officially moving forward with a bold new direction, promising to return the franchise to its survival horror roots. Sony is behind the project once again, but unlike the action-heavy Paul W.S. Anderson films, this new iteration will lean into the atmosphere of dread and isolation that made the original games iconic. The film will be directed and co-written by Zach Cregger, the filmmaker behind 2022's Barbarian, which earned praise for its intense tension and shocking twists. He's teaming up with Shay Hatton, suggesting the script will balance tightly wound suspense with smartly crafted horror beats. Krager has teased a descent into hell narrative focused on a single protagonist navigating a confined, terrifying setting. While the cast hasn't been finalized, Austin Abrams is reportedly in talks for a key role, indicating the filmmakers are looking at actors with a background in genre storytelling. More casting news is expected as the September 2025 filming start date approaches. Story details remain under wraps, but given the nearly 3 decades of Resident Evil lore, the reboot could take inspiration from the Spencer Mansion incident of the original game, or even incorporate elements of Resident Evil 4, which introduced a more supernatural angle. What's clear is that Krager wants the film to stay true to the claustrophobic survival horror feel of the early games, prioritizing fear over spectacle. The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, November 20th, 2026. The Hunger Games is heading back to the big screen with Sunrise on the Reaping, and this time we're diving into the brutal past of Haymitch Abernathy. Suzanne Collins' latest prequel focuses on the 50th Hunger Games, the infamous Second Quarter Quell, where Haymitch first earned his victor status. While it's still in early casting stages, a ton of exciting names have already been announced. Joseph Zeta will play the young Haymitch, and Whitney Peak steps in as Lenore Dove Baird, his love interest and a descendant of the Covey. Yep, the same traveling performers from The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. McKenna Grace is joining as Maisily Donner, another District 12 tribute, while Jesse Plemons takes over the role of Plutarch Heavensby. Fans will also see Kelvin Harrison Jr. as BT, Maya Hawke as Wyrus, and Lily Taylor as Mags. Ralph Fiennes is stepping into the shoes of President Snow. Elle Fanning will play a young Effie Trinket, and Glenn Close plus Billy Porter are on board as Capital Fashion power players. So what's the story? Since this is the Quarter Quell, the Capitol doubled the tributes, meaning 48 kids were thrown into the arena instead of the usual 24, raising the stakes and bloodshed. Haymitch's games were just as cruel and twisted as you'd expect, and even though we know he survives, this prequel will show exactly how he outsmarted everyone and what it cost him. Francis Lawrence, the director behind Catching Fire and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, is returning to helm the film, with Billy Ray writing the script. Expect the same dark, gritty tone mixed with all the political manipulation and survival horror that make the Hunger Games world so addicting. Dune Messiah, December 25th, 2026. Denis Villeneuve is planning to begin filming Dune 3 this summer, with pre-production already in motion and aiming for a start date dependent on the cast's availability, especially Zendaya, who's balancing The Odyssey, Euphoria Season 3, and Spider-Man 4. Following the massive success of Dune Part 2, which earned over $700 million globally and landed Best Picture Oscar nominations, the third film will adapt Frank Herbert's Dune Messiah, concluding Paul Atreides' journey as Emperor of the Universe. Set 12 years into Paul's reign, the story explores the dark consequences of his messianic rise among the Fremen, including a devastating jihad spreading across the galaxy, while Paul struggles with the power he holds and the grim future he foresees. Filming locations remain unconfirmed, although previous installments used Hungary, Jordan, and Abu Dhabi. The Angry Birds 3, January 29, 2027. Red, Chuck, Silver, and Bomb are flying back onto the big screen. Paramount Pictures just announced that The Angry Birds Movie 3. This time around, Rovio and Saga are teaming up with Namit Malhotra's Prime Focus Studios, plus Flywheel Media, One Cool Group, and Dentsu to bring the birds back in action. John Rice, who directed the first Angry Birds movie, is back in the director's chair. The screenplay is by Thurup Van Orman, who's also serving as an executive producer alongside Toru Nakahara from Sonic the Hedgehog. Producing the movie are John Cohen, Dan Chuba, and Carla Connor. And good news for fans of the music, Grammy-winning composer Heitor Pereira is returning to score the film, just like he did for the previous Angry Birds movies. As for the voices, Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Rachel Bloom, and Danny McBride are all back as Red, Chuck, Silver, and Bomb. Joining the fun this time are Emma Myers, Keke Palmer, Tim Robinson, Lily James, Marcelo Hernandez, Walker Scobell, Sam Richardson, Anna Cathcart, Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, Nikki Glazer, James Austin Johnson, and even Psalm West. DNEG Animation is taking care of storyboards, art, and animation, so you know it's going to look amazing. Sonic the Hedgehog 4, March 19, 2027. Sonic 4 is officially on the way and will zoom into theaters. After Sonic 3 raked in an impressive $492 million worldwide, Paramount clearly isn't slowing this franchise down anytime soon. The series has been a huge hit with both fans and critics, so it makes perfect sense that the Blue Blur is coming back for more. Story-wise, there's no official synopsis yet, but Sonic 3 gave us some big hints. The mid-credits scene introduced Amy Rose, while the post-credits scene teased that Shadow is still alive. Plus, we saw multiple Metal Sonics waiting to be unleashed. Fans are speculating that the fourth movie could focus on Sonic fighting Robotnik's mechanical army. There are also rumors about time travel or alternate universes, which could bring in Emperor Eggman and connect more directly to the Sonic CD storyline. When it comes to the cast, nothing has been confirmed yet, but it's safe to assume Ben Schwartz will return as Sonic. Colleen O'Shaughnessy should be back as Tails, Idris Elba as Knuckles, and James Marsden and Tika Sumpter as Tom and Maddie. Jim Carrey's Robotnik might make a comeback, since we never saw a body, and Keanu Reeves' Shadow is likely returning. New faces like Amy and Metal Sonic are already confirmed, and we might even see more characters from the games like Rouge. Sadly, there are no trailers yet. Looking at how Paramount handled Sonic 3, we'll probably get our first teaser in late 2026, just a few months before the release. And will this be the last Sonic movie? Probably not. The cast has hinted they'd love to keep going, and there are still tons of characters and storylines left to explore. Godzilla x Kong Supernova, March 26, 2027. Godzilla and Kong are teaming up once again. Godzilla x Kong Supernova is the next big entry in the Monsterverse. Directed by Grant Sputor, it's the sequel to Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, which became the Monsterverse's highest-grossing movie with over $570 million worldwide. This will be the 6th film in the Monsterverse, the 39th Godzilla movie, and the 14th King Kong film, so the legacy just keeps growing. The cast is stacked! Returning is Dan Stevens as Trapper, while new faces include Caitlin Dever, Jack O'Connell, Matthew Modine, Delroy Lindo, Alicia Debnam Carey, and Sam Neill. Sputor stepped in as director after Adam Wingard couldn't return due to scheduling conflicts. Legendary tapped David Callahan, who wrote early drafts of Godzilla to help craft the story. Filming started in April 2025 at Village Roadshow Studios in Queensland, Australia, and later moved to Utah. Stéphane Deschamps is handling production design, Dan Mindel is on cinematography, Kelly Port is leading VFX, Henry Jackman is composing the music, and Josh Schaefer is editing. A teaser dropped in May 2025, officially revealing the title Supernova. Story details are still under wraps, but Delroy Lindo teased that the movie will give more attention to the human element, addressing past criticism about the Monsterverse's weaker human storylines. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one are you most hyped for? Will it be the return of the Hunger Games, the next Sonic adventure, or the darker twist of Soulmate? Let me know your top picks in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow movie lovers, and hit that subscribe button for more updates on all the biggest upcoming films. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.